Claude just matched GPT-4's coding benchmarks at 80% less cost, but that's not even the shocking part.
Wait, what could be more shocking than Opus-Level performance at Sonnet pricing? So we're breaking down the benchmark scores, the actual pricing difference, and which use cases should switch immediately?
By minute 4, you'll know exactly how much you'll save per 1,000 tokens. Let's get into it.
Welcome to the AI Daily Podcast. Today's news and a deep dive to help you stay ahead in AI.
Today, we're diving into Anthropic's new Claude Sonnet 4.6 promises Opus-Level coding at Sonnet pricing.
Stick around to the end for today's headlines. Let's dive right in.
So, Anthropic just dropped Claude Sonnet 4.6, and this is genuinely fascinating. They're essentially giving you Opus-level coding performance at Sonnet pricing. We're talking about $3 per million input tokens versus 15 for output, compared to Opus at $15 and $75.
That's a massive price difference, but I'm skeptical. How close is almost matching when it comes to actual coding tasks?
The benchmarks are surprisingly close. On most coding evaluations, Sonnet 4.6 is within a percentage point of Opus 4.6. But here's what's really interesting. On OpenAI's Simple QA benchmark, Sonnet actually beats Opus by about 2 percentage points. And on Office tasks using the GDP-Val benchmark, it's not just beating Opus, it's outperforming GPT 4.2 and Gemini 3.0.
Wait, so they're basically cannibalizing their own premium tier?
That's the strategic play here. Think about it from a market positioning standpoint. OpenAI has been dominating the coding assistant space with GPT-4, especially through GitHub Copilot. Google's pushing hard with Gemini. Anthropic needs to capture market share, and they're doing it by democratizing their best capabilities.
But doesn't that hurt their revenue from Opus users?
Short term, maybe, but they're betting on volume. If you can get 80–90% of Opus performance at 20% of the price, suddenly every startup, every individual developer, every small team can afford enterprise-grade AI coding capabilities. The total addressable market explodes.
I'm also noticing they're keeping that million-token context window from Opus. That's huge for maintaining state across long coding sessions.
Exactly. And they've added context compaction in beta, which helps the model maintain coherence across even longer sessions. This is critical for real development work where you're jumping between files, maintaining context across multiple functions, maybe even entire code bases.
But how does it handle the hallucination problem? That's been the Achilles heel for coding assistants.
Anthropic's claiming significant improvements here. In their internal testing, developers found Sonnet 4.6 was much less likely to claim success when it actually failed. They're also saying it's less prone to over-engineering solutions, which honestly is a problem I've seen with a lot of coding tools.
That over-engineering point is interesting. Sometimes you just need a simple for loop, not a complex functional programming solution.
Right. And that's where Anthropic's constitutional AI approach might be paying dividends. They've trained these models to be helpful, but also honest about their limitations. Coming up, we'll dig into exactly how they pulled this off technically and what it means for the broader AI landscape. Exactly, but it's more sophisticated than traditional distillation. They're probably using what's called capability transfer, not just copying outputs, but actually transferring the reasoning patterns from Opus down to Sonnet. The benchmarks support this. Look at the SWE bench results. Sonnet 4.6 hits 22.8% compared to Opus at 23.1%. That's a 0.3 percentage point difference on one of the hardest coding benchmarks out there.
Those are real-world software engineering tasks, right? Not just toy problems.
Exactly. SWE Bench tests whether models can actually fix bugs in real Python repositories. We're talking about understanding existing code bases, identifying issues, and implementing fixes that pass test suites. The fact that Sonnet is that close to Opus is remarkable.
What about the computer use capabilities? That seems like it would require a lot of compute.
This is where it gets really interesting. On the OS World benchmark for computer use, Sonnet 4.6 scores 38.2% compared to Opus at 41.6%. Now, that might seem like a bigger gap, but consider this. The human baseline on these tasks is around 45 to 50%. So we're talking about models that are approaching human-level performance at navigating UIs, filling out forms, managing multiple browser tabs.
But that's average human performance, right? Not expert level.
Correct. And Anthropic's being transparent about this. They explicitly state that while these models are getting good at routine tasks, they can't match skilled humans on complex workflows yet. But here's the kicker. At Sonnet pricing, you can run these agents continuously. A human might be better at any individual task, but the AI can work 24/7 without fatigue.
What about the adaptive thinking feature they mentioned? That sounds like it could be a game changer for complex reasoning tasks.
Oh, this is clever. Adaptive thinking essentially lets the model adjust its reasoning depth based on the complexity of the problem. Simple tasks get quick responses. Complex problems trigger deeper analysis. It's like having a developer who knows when to slow down and think versus when to just bang out boilerplate code.
But doesn't that introduce latency variability? How do you plan for that in production?
Great question. From what they've released, the latency scales somewhat predictably with complexity. For coding tasks, you're looking at maybe 2 to 3x longer response times for complex architectural decisions versus simple syntax questions. But here's the trade-off. You get significantly better accuracy on those complex tasks.
I'm also thinking about the context window management. 1,000,000 tokens is huge, but how efficiently is it actually using that context?
This is where the context compaction feature becomes critical. Instead of just truncating old context, it's intelligently summarizing and maintaining the important bits. Think of it like a smart notebook that automatically creates summaries of previous conversations while keeping the full detail available if needed.
So for a coding session, it might keep full details of the current function you're working on, summaries of related functions, and just high-level notes about the overall architecture.
Exactly. And this is huge for real development workflows. You know how often you're jumping between files, referring back to something you discussed an hour ago, trying to maintain consistency across a large refactor? This kind of intelligent context management could be transformative. Stick around, we'll break down exactly what this means for your development workflow. All right, let's talk practical implications. If you're a platform engineer or leading a development team, here's what Sonnet 4.6 means for you right now.
I'm thinking cost optimization first. If I'm currently using Opus for coding tasks, this seems like a no-brainer switch.
For most use cases, absolutely. Here's my framework. Use Sonnet 4.6 for all your day-to-day coding tasks. Bug fixes, code reviews, refactoring, even architectural discussions. Save Opus for the truly complex stuff, where that extra few percentage points of accuracy really matters. Maybe critical security reviews or complex system design, where mistakes are expensive.
What about comparing to other providers? How does this stack up against GPT-4 or Gemini?
This is where Anthropic's strategy gets interesting. They're not trying to win on raw benchmark numbers everywhere. They're winning on the combination of capability, cost, and reliability. GPT-4 might edge them out on some creative tasks, but for consistent, reliable coding assistance, Sonnet 4.6 is incredibly competitive, especially at this price point.
What should teams be watching for as they adopt this?
First, monitor your hallucination rates. Even though Anthropic claims improvements, you still need guardrails. Second, track your token usage carefully. That 1,000,000 token context window is in beta, and you might hit limits in production. Third, measure actual developer productivity, not just model performance.
That last point is crucial. It's not about the AI being perfect. It's about how it augments your team.
Exactly. And here's something else to consider. The rapid pace of improvement. We went from Claude 3 to 4.6, bringing Opus-level performance down to Sonnet tier. What happens when Claude 5 launches? We might see current Opus-level performance at haiku pricing.
That would completely change the economics of AI-assisted development.
It's already changing. Think about what this enables. Small teams can now have AI assistance that rivals what only large enterprises could afford 6 months ago. Open source projects can integrate sophisticated AI code review. Individual developers can have an always-on coding partner that actually understands context and nuance.
But doesn't this raise the bar for human developers? If everyone has access to AI that can code at this level?
It shifts the value proposition. The developers who thrive will be the ones who can effectively orchestrate these AI tools, who understand system design, who can validate and improve AI-generated code. It's not about competing with the AI, it's about leveraging it to build things that weren't possible before.
Any predictions on where this goes next?
Watch for 3 things. First, expect every major AI provider to follow suit with this pricing pressure. Second, look for specialized models. Maybe Anthropic releases a Sonnet variant specifically optimized for different languages or frameworks. Third, and this is the big one, watch for the integration layer. The winners won't just be the best models, but the best developer experiences built on top of these models.
So the real opportunity is in building those integration layers.
Absolutely. The models are becoming commoditized faster than anyone expected. The value is moving up the stack to how you integrate these capabilities into actual development workflows. And here's my closing thought. We're watching the democratization of AI capabilities in real time. Anthropic just made enterprise-grade AI accessible to basically everyone. The question isn't whether to adopt these tools anymore, it's how fast you can integrate them before your competition does. Before we wrap up, let's catch up on this week's infrastructure news. There's a fascinating development from NVIDIA and Sarvam AI that's pushing the boundaries of inference performance to new heights. According to NVIDIA's developer blog, they've achieved a massive boost in inference speeds for sovereign language models through extreme hardware-software co-design.
Sovereign models. That's interesting. What kind of performance gains are we talking about here?
They're using specialized optimization techniques that tightly couple NVIDIA's hardware capabilities with custom software tweaks specifically for Sarvam's models. This isn't just throwing more GPUs at the problem. It's about fundamentally rethinking how the hardware and software work together.
Speaking of novel approaches, researchers have just released CREMAD, a crowdsourced emotional multimodal dataset for dogs. Yes, you heard that right. Dog emotions captured through video, audio, and contextual data.
Wait, so we're teaching AI to understand when dogs are happy or anxious? How does that even work?
The paper on Archive shows they're using multiple presentation modes and different annotator characteristics to capture canine emotional states. This could revolutionize pet care technology and veterinary applications.
From understanding dogs to transforming HR, AWS just published details on building AI-powered recruitment systems using Amazon Bedrock. They're showcasing how to automate talent acquisition with their AI services.
The timing on this is interesting, given the broader conversation about AI replacing jobs, but they're positioning it as enhancing rather than replacing human recruiters, helping with resume screening and initial candidate matching.
And speaking of enterprise AI, TechCrunch reports that Infosys is partnering with Anthropic to build enterprise-grade AI agents using Claude models, integrated into their Topaz platform.
This comes as IT stocks are getting rattled by AI jitters in the market. Companies are scrambling to show they're not being left behind in the AI revolution.
The partnership focuses on automating complex enterprise workflows, not just chatbots, but actual business process automation. They're targeting everything from supply chain to customer service operations.
It's a smart move for both companies. Anthropic gets enterprise reach, while Infosys gets cutting-edge AI capabilities.
That wraps up today's news. That's our show for today.
If you found this valuable, please subscribe and share with a friend who'd appreciate it.
Drop us a comment with your thoughts on today's topic.
Links to everything we discussed are in the show notes.
Until next time!